as we can see, Bitcoin price is trying to break higher from the moving average. It is trying to give us a cup and handle pattern for which the measured move, as we discussed before, is close to 11%. Now, if you take that and plot that, you'll see somewhere close to the all-time highs. And that's a good news for all of us, because if that thing is going higher, that means the entire crypto market is looking positive. What do I mean, right? That's a big question. You look at ETH, a micro pattern which is negative, inside a macro pattern which is positive. Like, there is a lot happening in here, right? So you need answers directly from the market. Can XRP make this as a falling wedge, break to the upside, retest and bounce, which then would break this bull flag to the upside? So are we looking at the micro 1, 2, 3, then the big choppy move and a break to the upside? What is it? The total altcoin market showing you there is a possibility that this support is still unmet. You may still have supply there. Can the demand push it to the downside, right? But then can we make a falling wedge here and then break to the upside, retest it, form a cup and handle, just like Bitcoin, following Bitcoin? So if Bitcoin does go up, we have something happening here too. But if Bitcoin fails, that means, this is also going to come back down. So what are the possibilities in the market when you see the new speculation, the new interest, the renewed bullish momentum in the market? What can we look forward to? Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. If we jump into, say, the market and we look at assets which are doing okay, at that moment I would say, okay, fine, that's against the dollar we are looking at, fine, you go change that to Bitcoin. Now you get a bit of difference in the perspective. If you want to look at in the altcoin comparison, use it with Ether. That gives you a bit more perspective there. In general, I would say look at Bitcoin. Now you have an idea of which of these coins is strong against Bitcoin, which of them are weak against Bitcoin. So you get to see that. So the money flow from the stable coins matter here. On the macro, it is down, but on the micro, it is going up. Now, that's in the Bitcoin terms. Now we go into the USD terms, and you need to look through the stable coins. Say Tether is here. You can see volume of money is going out, and at the same time you can see this is bouncing, this is bouncing. So we can see where the money is coming out from and where the money is going into, which is follow the money. Now, at this moment, what do you have? A sellers trying to jump in hard. They would like to seize this opportunity to short the market. But that's positive for us. Let me explain. If you don't have people to kick out from the market, you don't have enough liquidity to the upside. Now, their stop losses are higher. So the market is going to fetch that liquidity like $8 billion. I mean, in the market, just if the price goes to 74, that's still saying like, okay, you just go higher, you just fake out here, you do a fake out and then go back down. That still gives the whales, these exchanges, more liquidity and cost to cut, to make, all of that. Perfect. Now, say you look at this and say, okay, fine. But this is a lower high. This is a lower low. I don't want to see that. Yeah, fine. If that's the perspective, you'd be looking at this in such a way. Your argument would be more or less close to the range of 70s. I agree. That is one clear perspective. I'm not rejecting that. But at the same time, you'll also have to agree that this formation of a double bottom possibility still is relevant in the market. Now, the measured move for such is what? 9.9%. Let's take 9% after the breakout. That brings you close to the all-time highs again. So you invalidate this. You go back to the cup and handle, which kind of gives you the similar idea of you're going to go back up to that range, which is fine, which is good. Now, say this is a short-term chart. You really don't like the short-term charts. You don't care about the short-term fluctuation. Fine. Perfect. You go on to the macro. What you would like to see, not what the market is going to give us, but what we like to see is the moving average being broken back to the upside. I would love that. Why? Because that happening on a 3-day, on a weekly shows, you literally bounced off from the moving average. You came back down to retest it, but then that became a support, and this range is acting as a strong support. Now, yes, I need to see this break to the upside. We have seen similar things. We have put in the time horizon as well, where we can be completely wrong. But last time it took 63 days. Before that, I believe it was like 20 days. Now it is 60. So this time, what is it going to be? If you put the math, it should be before that 63 days, which is the next week. So if it happens this week, by the end of this week, I'm still happy to see this range breaking to the upside. If it happens next week, I'm okay, let it run. But the way we look at the market and learn from the market, it shows you the odds of this happening in next 10 days is good. Now, for those of us who are involved in XRP, we need a little bit more context. Okay. If Bitcoin is going up, if Ether is trying to break higher, where are we? Are we going to do something? Like, fine. This is still a support. You did not break that to the downside. What we would like to see is this candle. You know, that doesn't look good, right? That particular candle, similar candle, was broken here, but this was not. So here we need to break this range and then this range. So you have two big resistance to break to the upside. Now, looking at the charts, what do you think has higher odds? Let me give it to you. If you're looking at this, say you use the price and MACD here. Last time when the MACD was that open, the two lines with the maximum width, you already had your bottom. Here again, two lines with the maximum width, you already had your bottom, right? So most likely this was the local low. Perfect. And that's on a 3-day, not on an hourly. Now we can go on a weekly, monthly, wherever you like to put your argument in. Because Bitcoin is staying above the moving average. The moving average is pointing to the upside, whereas XRP, the price is below the moving average. The moving average itself on a weekly is pointing to the downside. If you're 100% in XRP, remember you need time. If you don't, diversification into the right category of assets is super important. When I say right category of asset, not saying sell everything in XRP and jump into something. You should have your own proportion based on your risk tolerance, your risk-taking ability, and risk-taking willingness. Willingness is different from ability. I've seen a lot of people willing to take 100% risk when their real ability is not there. So you need to understand that. That's one of the reasons why in the SI family, we go to that depth. In the one-on-one sessions, we go through that. All of these to give you the best advantage in the market, right? So coming back into the matter, if you do look at this, yes, it's good to see that this asset made its accumulation bottom first and then broke to the upside, and now it is still holding on there. That's quite good, because last time around, the wick was so bad, it came back down. This time around, yes, you got that wick, but the price didn't close there. It came back up to this range and closed there, which is positive. So now, somewhat like this is what we are watching here. How high can we really go? this is something you need to keep in your mind. Say you go look at the macro pattern on XRP, yeah, that kind of gives you some kind of confidence that, okay, fine, we have something coming. We are most likely going to watch a 10 to 15x to the minimum, most likely 25-30x. Fine. But if you are one of those guys who are super conservative, looking at the price action, what would your argument be after looking at this? This is a macro pattern. We have to agree on this. This is a macro pattern which has been active all the way here. And if we extend, I believe here, fine. So see, that was a resistance. That was a resistance that then broke to the upside, then became a support, support, support all the way. Fine. So if you break to the upside, I'm happy to say this is going to be a decent ROI, but not like a lot of people are feeding the community. It's a 15x, and a break of this range for a 15x would mean what, right? This should not be taken out of the context. So this is the range I'm talking about, which in XRP price would actually mean what? 0.77. So you're putting a 15x somewhat like from 0.8, you're plotting that all the way to the upside. So say you want to actually plot that 15x from here, where do you reach? You come somewhere close to $11. Now, is that too small? For some people, based on their predictions, yeah, it can be. But it is not. Because if you do take it from the bottom, that then becomes 40x. Remember, in the last cycle, what we have seen in XRP was close to 18x, not 40. Yes, we had a cycle before where we did magnificent numbers. Agreed. But this should be kept in mind. Now, this is when you see the price of XRP is about this range. When all of the other assets are doing that, we want to see this guy is also following it. Otherwise, we need more patience, time, and that's not the easy part. Because right now you see a lot of smart contracts doing this. They're staying above, they're playing the history, they're not changing the history, they're playing by the history. So we kind of have an idea where they're going to go. Now, last time they barely came below the moving average. Right now, you're below the moving average. That means for me, maybe I'm wrong. Here, if your upside was 35x, I would look for maybe a 10x to the max. Because your strength is lower, which means if you actually plot that, I would come somewhere close to 220 billion in the cap, which, if you plot from the last high, is what? 120% to the upside. So somewhat like $6 to $7. Is that small? No, that's a huge run to the upside. It's not small. Now, say you look for the patterns, you're plotting that, and now, quote that. Yeah, you have a little bit more. But nothing shows you that 35x run. It shows you a reduced upside. But upside is what we are looking at. Whether that's a 10x, 15x, 100x, that's a different story. Right now, when people are depressed because you're not watching upside, this is the reality which you should understand. Because the macro market is now at a pace like this. For those who understand this, you have micro patterns, then the macro patterns, all of those. But yes, it's weird to see the third wave being the biggest wave. In the one scenario here, in the second scenario here, in the third scenario here, it shows us that, right? Fine, maybe the micro 1, 2, 3 exist. The nano 1, 2, 3 exist. Fine. That's too much of confusion for anyone new. So I'm not going into that detail. But if you do get a rejection here to come back down, don't panic. That's still normal. Now, say you're most bullish on this asset class right now, and you're expecting this to do wonders. Fine. What do we want to see? We want to see this range being broken to the upside, which would look somewhat like this range of support, turn resistance, then is being broken, retested, and bounce. If we get that, it's perfect because it looks somewhat similar to what we have seen in the past. We break, we retest, we remain choppy, we go up, we grind higher until you get a divergence. Fine, right? Is that a small ride? No, it's not. Because at that time, when it is actually doing a 60% move in the total altcoin, you're watching large caps doing maybe 60, but small caps doing 600%. Even first segment of the large caps did wonders, right? In the entire move from 2023 October to this cycle top. That was a huge move. Now look at what they did from the 2022, late 2022 to the upside. We had all the calls there, right? We had all these calls here. But yeah, we were a little bit short instead of getting to the top. But the divergence and the peak was called out almost like this. Why? Because that was a resistance from a macro chart. Yes, the supports were increasing. Yes, that showed you to the upside. Yes, if it breaks to the upside, there is like, crazy upside. But then the logic comes into the picture. We would like to see if that logic make a lot of sense. Say, for example, this is the bottom, this is the top. Are you saying it's going to break from here and do another 60x and make the total run of this cycle look like, nuts numbers? I don't think so, right? And that is exactly where we come back to the market side of things, to the Ether, to the Bitcoin side of things. If you do look at this on a macro horizon, you're saying, okay, the monthly candle is coming to that close. We want to see that coming in tomorrow. Great? Perfect. When it is coming in, remember I told you guys, I want to see that the price is not breaking the mother candle's direction. This is the top. This is the bottom. We are right now having an inside candle. We didn't go up to put a new high. We didn't go up to put a new high. We didn't go up to put a new high compared to the previous candles, which for me is like, that's good, right? Honestly, that's good because you are not dealing with such kind of a thing. And you are in that part of the market cycle where you are at the all-time highs, not halfway through. At the all-time highs. This is a monthly chart which clearly shows you that. Like all the monthly closes before we're here. So when you actually get the monthly here, that in itself is a big deal. Say we break that down. We go on to a weekly. Say for that to happen, this week should come up and close somewhere like 67, 66. If we come to 70s, whoa, perfect. We're going to go back up. It's just going to be another bounce. And keep your eyes focused on what the hell this guy is doing. Because if you don't see a divergence, this guy is going much higher than I thought. I'm wrong. I would expect that to be visible on the chart. And if it is, I would agree I was wrong. I will completely agree. But if not, what would you see? Say the price is going up, making a new high, but the RSI comes just like this, below the previous high, not making a new high, and the price going up like this. What would you see? That's a negative divergence where you should be exiting. This is one of the primary reasons when everyone else was calling the top here. I told guys, watch, we don't have a negative divergence at that point. Yes, when we came here, we had a fake signal for sure, but that was close to 53, not 48, 49 when a lot of people were calling for it, right? We had the breakout here, then we showed you the exact thing. And I remember, putting that up here, saying, okay, guys, watch, this is same pattern. If that plays out, we're going to go back up, we're going to then break to the upside. But then I was initially expecting it to come back down. What happened was you did the exact same thing. You went up, but then you broke that to the upside, which is where we actually got the measured move to 72.5, I believe. Now the price is showing you it touched even above that. So when it is euphoric, the market goes nuts. Use that for your advantage. Be in the right coins, not in the coins which has already done like crazy numbers. If you're watching them developing negative divergence, may God bless you. Remember, on a weekly, if you do see a negative divergence, or at least on a monthly, if you see it's at 85 or above, make the right decisions. Brothers and sisters, this is the place in any asset class, you need to look for the history and learn from it. And if you do learn, it's going to serve you well, very well. Now, if you receive value for your time and you haven't smashed that like button, consider doing that. It supports the channel actually. We're still below 30,000 members, subscribers in the channel, and it's been a long time. Now, yes, we don't actually do that kind of a hype videos to plot $10,000 XRP, $100,000 XRP. We try to stick with the truth, the facts, and what we can see in the charts, honestly. Now, if you want to reach out to me for the one-on-one session, get my personal post 4,000 members right now. The link in the description is there for the Patreon, in the YouTube, or on the Twitter, it's on the bio. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. And if you haven't smashed that like button, smash it. Bye for now.